Hello and welcome to computer class. My name is Dave and today we are talking about servers and data centers. So let's give a quick definition of what is a server, and then we'll talk about all the associating ideas behind it. So first of all, you have a server, which is singular. It's a computer on a network that provides services to other computers on the network. And usually you would have this this device running something called Active Directory. It's a service that allows other that you basically connect computers to the server and allows all those computers to log in on the network. It could also run things like DHCP, um, and lots of other different tasks that servers do. They serve up files and different things. So servers have a great purposes to local area networks, but they also serve up websites, and that's why they're called servers because they serve up information. That's the idea behind them. So services provided by servers include storing content and controlling access to hardware, software, and other resources on a network. Servers can support from 2 to several thousand connected computers or devices at the same time. That's based on, the ability of the server. Typical servers include a processor, memory storage, network connections, and depending on its function, a server may not require a monitor or input device. Some are controlled remotely, and most people will use remote desktop and log into the server if it's a Windows server, or they'll use some sort of terminal to get into the device and remote into it. They won't actually like use a monitor all the time. They'll use a different device. Maybe they're like machine that they're on. You could log in from any machine, so to speak. That being said, if we're going to pluralize this term, it would be called a server farm or server cluster. That's plural. It is a network of several servers linked together in a single location, usually maintained by an organization to supply server functionality far beyond the capacity of a single server machine. And so what they'll do is they'll like stick these in stand-up cabinets, multiple ones of them, either this direction or this direction, and they'll heat and air condition them from. I'm sorry, they'll air condition them. They won't heat them, but they'll air condition them from the back or from the floor um, to in this server farm. Okay. That being said, a data center refers to the actual building that all of these server clusters go inside of. And sometimes organizations will share a data center, like a bank may have a part of the data center sectioned off for them, and then another organization may have part of the data center sectioned off for them. But the entire data center is the building by which is housing all these server clusters or blocks, if you will, or containers of all these computers in a rack, so to speak. So a large group of network computer servers typically used by organizations for remote storage, processing, or distributions of large amounts of data. That's what a data center is. I'm going to drop this video of Google's data center down in the description, and also this video of Facebook's data center, and also this video of Microsoft's data center for you to get a good indication of what a data center does and these server clusters. Here's also talking about floating data centers, a video, and one talking about data pods, a company in Australia, if I'm not mistaken, that does this. And then also the Internet Archive. So a whole bunch of videos to go through and watch about servers and server farms. Probably will take you quite a while to watch those, so make sure to go look into those because there's a lot of helpful information and also gives you a visual tour in your mind of how large these centers are. They're like football fields and football fields. The scale and the size of them is just enormous. When most people think of the internet, they're thinking of this like cloud that's like this tiny little thing, like, where is it? But when I think of the internet, and a lot of people that work in this industry, we think of these massive just towers of data stored in these huge facilities that are biometrically locked with racks upon racks upon racks upon racks of machines and kabillions of hard drives. And that's, if you wanted to get a picture in your mind, that's the internet. So go check those videos out. It's pretty cool. So there are several types of servers, though, that we should take note of. And the first of these is a rack server. It is a server that is housed in a slotted bay on a metal frame or rack. And here you go. They're horizontal um, rather than vertical. And you can see there's an example of one of them there. And this server has, as you can see, 8 hard drives, but they typically have, you know, 8, 10, 12 hard drives, and then they sit in these racks, and you kind of plug them all in, so to speak. Okay, a rack can contain multiple servers, each in a different bay. I mean, look how many this can contain. You got like, I don't know, there must be 30 that can stack on top of each other or something crazy like that. So a lot of servers per rack. And then blade server is a server in a form of a circuit board or blade. The individual blades insert into the blade server chassis that can hold many blades. Like a rack server, the chassis is fastened in place to the flat surface. And so as you can see, they go this direction. And the reason for that is this technology is actually, they found somewhat better. They blow the air through the floor and up through the server rack, whereas this server rack, the rack server, you actually have to butt a air conditioning unit up against the back of it to provide cooling to this huge amount of computers. You have to cool it down because it gets too hot in the room. And so this direction, the blade server, you're actually blowing it through rather than butting it up against the back, so it's coming up from the floor. So it's a pretty cool, it's a revolutionary, just a different way of thinking of it, and allowing these to perform. And you can see there's quite a few in one section, if you will, and then you'd have multiple sections per unit, per cage, so to speak. Okay. Last type is a tower server, and again, this is not an exhaustive list. These are just the main types of servers. A tower server is a server built in a upright cabinet tower that stands alone. So it's kind of like a really big desktop computer, um, and usually they have a different processor, different motherboard, and everything is more of a like beastly components that are inside of them, more memory usually than a desktop computer, but it's similar in size, just a really big one, so to speak. Okay, and that's exactly what it looks like a tower like that, for instance, like this Dell server. Okay, servers have many purposes. You can have an application server that stores and runs apps. Common web applications include webmail, online retail sales, online auctions, wikis, instant messaging services, and many other functions. So that would be an application server. Backup server backs up and restores files, folders, and media. Database server stores and provides access to a database. File server stores and manages files. FTP server stores files for user upload and downloads via FTP or file transfer protocol. Game server, which is pretty cool. Game servers, everybody loves those, right? Provides a central location for online gameplay and spawning in. Home server provides storage, internet connections, and other services to computers in a household. That might be something that someone might do. List server stores and manages email lists. Mail server stores and delivers mail messages. Network server manages network traffic. A print server manages printers and documents waiting to be printed. Web server stores and delivers requested web pages to a computer via a browser. So there are many of these such servers. And that is it. That's all I have to talk about servers. Make sure you watch those videos because there's a ton of information in there. More of a tour, if you will, or a field trip to go to some of these cool data centers. And hopefully the information that we talked about in this tutorial was helpful. And I will see you in the next video.